The information we consume shapes our understanding of the world. It influences our opinions, beliefs, and ultimately our actions. But what happens when this information flow is controlled by a select few corporations? We live in an age where a handful of media conglomerates dominate the airwaves, newspapers, and increasingly, the internet. This concentration of ownership raises serious concerns about media bias and the potential for manipulation. When the same corporate interests control the narrative, dissenting voices are often silenced, marginalized, or worse, co-opted. This is where the concept of controlled opposition comes into play. By understanding the mechanics of media control, we can begin to critically analyze the information presented to us and challenge narratives that serve the interests of the powerful.
The term manufacturing consent was coined by Noam Chomsky and Edward S. Herman in their book. They argue that the media, through a variety of filters, effectively manufactures public consent for government policies and corporate agendas. These filters include things like media ownership, advertising revenue, reliance on official sources, and the ability to discredit dissenting voices. By controlling these levers, powerful interests can influence what stories are told, how they are framed, and what perspectives are excluded. This process is often subtle and insidious. It relies on shaping perceptions, not through outright lies, but through omission, selective reporting, and the framing of issues in a way that favors certain narratives. The result is a public that is often ill-informed and easily swayed by narratives that serve the interests of the powerful. This is why it is crucial to develop critical thinking skills and to seek out information from a variety of sources.
The term controlled opposition refers to individuals or groups that appear to be challenging the status quo, but are actually serving to reinforce it. These individuals or groups may be co-opted, manipulated, or even created by powerful interests to manage and control dissent. One way controlled opposition works is by providing an outlet for public anger and frustration, while carefully steering that energy away from truly threatening challenges to the system. They may offer solutions that appear radical, but in reality, do little to address the root causes of the problems they claim to address. Another way controlled opposition functions is by discrediting genuine movements for change. By associating these movements with extreme or unpopular views, they can make them appear fringe or illegitimate in the eyes of the public. Recognizing controlled opposition is crucial for anyone who seeks to understand the dynamics of power and how dissent is managed in a society. It requires a critical eye and a willingness to question narratives that seem too neat or convenient. Section 4, Case Study, Edward Snowden and the Illusion of Dissent. Edward Snowden, the former NSA contractor who leaked classified information about government surveillance programs, is often hailed as a hero and a whistleblower. While his actions undoubtedly sparked an important conversation about privacy and government overreach, it's worth examining his case through the lens of controlled opposition. Snowden's leaks, while significant, were carefully curated. They exposed some of the government's surveillance capabilities, but they also served to legitimize the overall framework of mass surveillance. Furthermore, Snowden's decision to seek asylum in Russia, a country with its own history of surveillance and oppression, raises questions about his motives and the potential for his actions to have been manipulated by foreign powers. While Snowden's revelations undoubtedly had an impact, it's important to consider whether they ultimately served to reinforce the existing power structure by providing the illusion of transparency and accountability while leaving the underlying system of mass surveillance largely intact.
Section 5. WikiLeaks, transparency or a calculated leak. WikiLeaks, the organization founded by Julian Assange, has gained notoriety for publishing classified information leaked by anonymous sources. It positions itself as a champion of transparency and accountability, exposing wrongdoing by governments and corporations. However, WikiLeaks has also been accused of selectively releasing information to further specific political agendas. The timing and nature of some of its leaks, particularly during the 2016 U.S. presidential election, have raised suspicions about its motives and potential manipulation by external actors. Furthermore, the lack of transparency surrounding WikiLeaks' own funding and operations has fueled speculation about its true allegiances. While WikiLeaks has undoubtedly played a role in exposing secrets and holding the powerful accountable, it's essential to approach its actions with a critical eye and to consider the possibility that it, too, may be a tool of controlled opposition used to shape narratives and influence public opinion.